Hello, everybody. So I thought I would make a little video to share on Instagram and Facebook, just talking a little bit about me and Mummy versus AAC. My name's Jo, and I am the parent of a little girl who is 7 years old. I don't know how that happened. That seems to have gone in like a moment, but she's 7. She has complex communication needs, physical and learning disabilities due to a rare genetic condition called Emmanuel syndrome. And we have been using AAC with her at home, and school have been working on that as well. I set up Mummy versus AAC as a blog initially, and then a Facebook page and Twitter feed, and now more recently Instagram, which I'm loving, to share some of what that looked like for us. I did a bit of an introduction video on YouTube maybe over a year ago now, talking a little bit about where I'm coming from within this journey, and I thought I would do that again to put on Instagram, but also as a bit of an update because things have changed. So a brief history. My professional background is as a speech and language therapist, and I qualified as a speech and language therapist in 2002. So I've been doing it for quite a long time, and my first job was in special schools and mainstream SEN support. I then moved roles, did a lot of community clinic work, developed a specialism in stammering therapy, that's stuttering for those of you not in the UK, and spent a long time doing that. But then due to some restructures when Lucy was very little, when I was on maternity with Lucy, I was made redundant from that post. I tinkered with a little bit of private work, took a little bit of time out. And during this time, I was thinking about my daughter and what her communication needs looked like, and trying to skill myself up in what I knew was going to be an AAC journey from quite early on. And then ended up working in AAC with adults with profound and multiple learning disabilities for 3 years. I also, during that time, did my post-basic dysphagia qualification. However, after a period off sick and a time with a lot of stress, and I guess lockdown giving us as a family the opportunity to look at what life looked like and prioritising, I have decided to become a stay-at-home parent carer, and I've left the profession. So I can no longer call myself a speech and language therapist because I'm not registered with the Health and Care Professions Council, which is very strange. But I do still have 19 years of clinical experience in speech and language therapy, and a wonderful daughter who has taught me probably more about communication and supporting communication than any other mentor I've had, and I've had some incredible ones. So that's me. I'm a former speech and language therapist who is ambling through and bimbling through looking at developing AAC with my daughter. For me, this has been quite a transformational journey in terms of AAC. My background, my very brief bit of work in SEN in the past, I did some AAC work. I remember doing quite a lot with Big Macs, not a lot with symbols, and spending quite a lot of time putting crisp packets in the oven to make them really tiny, to make them into objects of reference. And when I think about that now, I kind of think, not sure how really helpful that was. So when I started reading about current thinking in AAC and building core vocabulary and having robust language systems and what that looks like, it's all been really exciting for me. And then on top of that, I started learning and reading about literacy development, and that's all been really exciting. So they're all things that I'm looking at home and working with school on implementing for Lucy, and just trying to give her as much opportunity as we can to learn and develop her AAC skills, which she is doing, and she's doing really well. So kind of what I hope to put out on Instagram and Facebook and in the blog and various other places is just looking at what our experience has been, looking at what the challenges are, celebrating some of the great moments we have, and sharing that experience and maybe sharing information, because I'm still a little bit of a journal article and conference geek, and I'm loving podcasts at the minute, and so I'm finding so many different ways to gather information, and maybe I can share some of those avenues to maybe other parents or therapists might find useful. I will just tell you a little bit. I did get challenged by an AAC user a couple of months ago, absolutely rightly. Why have you called it Mummy versus AAC? Because it sounds like you don't like it. That is not true. I'm absolutely passionate about AAC, but also I am the parent of a little girl with some complex health, medical, physical needs. We have a lot of things to juggle, and AAC is another thing to add to that. And it's hard work sometimes. Sometimes it's absolute magic and everything goes beautifully and we have wonderful interactions. But sometimes it's just really, really tricky. And making sense of what to do and finding the right services can all mean that AAC, although it's wonderful, takes time, patience, effort, endurance. And that's why I've called it Mummy versus AAC. So, I hope you've enjoyed this 6-7 minutes of just finding out a little bit more about me and about my family. I am going to keep just plodding on and pumping things out on Instagram and Facebook and possibly on the blog as well. And hopefully people find that interesting and useful. And please reach out to me, talk to me about AAC. I love talking about it. I'm passionate about AAC. I'm passionate about speech and language therapy and how important that is to that process, even though I'm not one anymore. Okay, so thank you for listening. I hope you made it to the end of 7 minutes and what's going to be about 15 seconds, and I hope to see you around. Bye.